Hello, gorgeous seekers and movers and shakers and curiosity-driven beings. Here we are. At a big moon magic, I know that this Leo full moon, lunar eclipse, has gotten a reputation. It's already doing the rounds and all the conversations. If you're looking up anything about this, it's like, wow, this moon is really intense. Yes. Any moon that has the energy that this one has along with an eclipse, you're going to feel the impact of it. I will be honest. It will affect everybody differently depending on your chart, depending on where you are in your process, depending on how much you feel you want to morph in the next couple of months, depending on how much work you've done over the last few months and you feel connected with it, right? So everybody will feel this moon differently, but I spent some time thinking about this moon. Quite a bit of time actually, because the more I looked at it, the more I looked at the chart and looked at the aspects, the more I realized there were so many conversations going on. And there are two major levels to it, which we will get to today. But the main thing to keep in mind is that as I talk through this, we are going to get to the core of what this moon is doing and how to utilize it. And it is going to be very simple, and it is going to demand of you to be very conscious and to feel through some things. So I'll give you that warning right now. Also, the Flow series is up and running. I will be adding to that every few weeks. I will be hopefully adding a way so that you can subscribe so that you can just get them coming in. The first episode is up. There will be more to come. There will be a lot that's going to be inspired by actually being close to the ocean very soon. So I hope you guys go check that out. There's always going to be more that I'm going to be providing for those of you who want to come and be in this space with me. So check that out. Now, this is a total lunar eclipse, and North and South America are getting quite the show. You can look up where that's happening. It's happening overnight, the 20th into the 21st of January. It's a 0-degree full moon. 0-degree moon in Leo, 0-degree sun in Aquarius. We are kicking off Aquarius season right with a nice little square off between us two. Hey Aquarius. Love you guys. And of course, what would the major umbrella conversation of this full moon be without Uranus coming in to have a little fun and dabble, because that planet is starting to do a lot of interesting things. It's been a big topic of conversation the last, 8 or 9 months as it's been working its way back to Taurus. It's making a very clear square to this moon. Now, it's not fully in Taurus, right? It's at 28 degrees of Aries, so it's within 2 degrees of the sun-moon face-off. So it makes it a pretty powerful square. Squares are points of tension. They are points of reconciling aspects of yourself. Rather than it just being about flowing along and having it be easy breezy, the way that this is all aspecting with this giant square, it's asking you to stop in your tracks, slow down, and actually look at who you are and who you want to be. And this is really quite powerful energy. You know what's funny? I was just looking at, I have so many notes for this moon. One of the things I put in all caps is this is a moon of fire with legs of fire and destabilizing challenges all over it. If you're looking at it initially, that's what it looks like. And I don't want to scare you guys, but that is true. We have the moon in Leo. We have Uranus finishing up a long transit in Aries. We have other placements in fire signs as well, but we haven't gotten to that yet. And then we have the moon in Aquarius. These are all extremely revolutionary energies. Leo is about leadership and how we take our space rightfully in the world, right? Aquarius is about how we do that within the collective and how we serve each other. That is such a powerful opposition. You guys all know, I'm a Leo sun. I'm obsessed with my Leo-Aquarius opposition. So Leos and Aquarians will be feeling this quite personally. All the fixed signs will be feeling this quite personally, I think. There's just a revolution going on with fixed signs and how we're showing up to the world. But you can look at it that way. How are you showing up to the world? How do you want to show up to the world? How have you stopped yourself? Because Uranus is over there. in Aries, another fire sign, just a couple degrees away from this moon, opening up a gateway, right? 0-degree moon with an eclipse, saying, how are we going to shake that up? How are we going to shake that up? Are you going to just do the same routine you've been doing for the last 7 or 8 years or your whole life? Are you going to keep looking to partnerships and work opportunities and people who don't serve you? Are you going to keep looking back over there? Uranus does kind of electrically shock our systems a little bit. He tends to come in and turn things on its head. And the way that I'm seeing it in this moon is it's not going to be so much about earth-shattering exposure in the external world around you. It's not going to be about you getting phone calls or dramatic conversations, though some of you out there will probably be tempted. This is a lot more about your internal relationship with yourself and where you have blocked yourself off, held yourself back, or been afraid to feel through something, and that is not allowing you to take actions that feel authentic to you. And that square just puts it right in your face. So it feels uncomfortable because when you have a conversation of energy going on like that, it can make you feel physically uncomfortable. It can make you feel anxious. It can make you feel really tense because part of you is going to want to resist that conversation, needs to kind of be reconciled. And part of you is going to want to run off and just distract yourself. And this is the first part of the point I'm going to be getting to with this moon, which is don't distract yourself on this moon. Don't numb it out. Don't run away from it. Sit with it. Honor it. Let the information come in for you because, yeah, it is heavy hitting. Now, with an eclipse like this, right, we are closing out a longer transit of Leo eclipses with the North Node that was in Leo until late last year. We are closing out a thematic thing as well, and we are preparing for Uranus to enter Taurus in early March. There's all this preparation going on for a really long, large-scale series of years, 7 or 8 years moving forward. So part of this eclipse and part of this energy is preparing for that. And you will be clicking into that. You'll be clicking into pieces of who you're going to be, how that's going to look. You'll be noticing you're feeling a little bit different, that maybe things that seemed really important even around New Year's are starting to just kind of not compute as anything to you. You may be noticing where you're finding more attraction, more appeal. There will be surprising aspects to that. That's where Uranus comes in. There will be things that it's surprising. You never thought you were interested in learning that language or learning that skill set, but now it's really intriguing you. So listen into that. And that's the fun side of this moon. I mean, Leo energy is about creativity and nurturing creativity. It is about leading yourself into those creative zones and loving it. So that major conversation is going on now. That is not all that is going on with this moon. If that was all that was going on this moon, we could just close it out here, take a big breath and say, okay, let's be open to who we could be. But no, we have a much, in some ways, an equally powerful conversation going on with Sagittarius, Pisces, and Aries placements. Those signs are all involved in this because we have Jupiter and Venus basically conjunct in Jupiter, or in Sagittarius at the time of this full moon. Venus is at 14 degrees of Sagittarius, Jupiter is at 15 degrees of Sagittarius. That's a great combo. Venus and Jupiter, it's like very flirty, very adventurous, very curious, very expansive when it comes to what we love and value and how we want to play with that, getting up there, getting like some philosophizing about what love and value means. Really pretty sexy energy. I'm into it. I really like it. Here's the thing. That's trining Mars at 13 degrees of Aries, so very close. That's a trine. So another fire sign, right? Mars is like cozy and happy at home in Aries, being like, let's go, let's go. Venus and Jupiter hanging out in Sagittarius, agreeing with Mars, saying, yep, let's just throw caution to the wind and start trying things and seeing what happens. And then who shows up to the party? Who shows up to the conversation but Neptune at 14 degrees of Pisces? So you can see all these planets are at 13, 14, or 15 degrees of these mutable signs. Actually, not just mutable. We have Aries over there. The Mars is just like in there, like poking everybody, like, hey, hey, hey. The thing I want you guys to focus on is this Venus-Jupiter squaring Neptune. This is really important. This is the sublayer to what I was saying to you just a little bit ago about how we might want to run away from the information we're receiving as far as what we want to create, who we want to be, and what no longer serves us. The Venus-Jupiter square to Neptune is a conversation about how we sometimes want to numb ourselves out in order to experience things. And sometimes we feel like if we can just get intoxicated by fantasy and some of those numbing agents we use in life, and we all have our different ways that we do that. There's plenty of ways we can all think of that we numb out when we don't want to have to go there and feel something and know something. Because when you know something, you can't unknow it, right? You know, when you have a big piece of truth in yourself, like you know that you'll never be able to love that person the way they want you to love them. And you know that if you really look at that and you acknowledge it, you know you won't be able to go back and pretend, right? It's that kind of conversation, because Neptune at home in Pisces is always kind of seductive. It wants to take you to places where things are all just ideas, and it's fun and it's sexy and it's very fantastical, but it's often associated too with like drugs and alcohol and things that numb us out so that we can float up there, right? Especially when it's squaring the Venus-Jupiter conversation. What do we love and value? What do we want to expand? What do we want to grow into? And when you have a square like this is where, interestingly enough, the central question underlying the eclipse, the sun and the moon and Uranus, who are having that great grand court conversation, the undergirding of that is this conversation in Sagittarius and Pisces. And questions came up as I was sitting here thinking about this, because you will be noticing things coming up. Like what feels good in your bones when you are stone cold sober. You are just there. You are just fully conscious. What still feels good? What still excites you? What moves with ease through your life? What lights you up without you needing to numb a part of yourself out? And that's where we are going to get to the heart of the message of this moon, which is you need to feel what you are feeling. Don't try and skip it. Honestly, from the time you watch this video to the time of the moon, whenever that is, and even a few days after, try your best to take really good care of your body and don't try and numb out with anything. You know, and take that with whatever you need to do for yourself. I'm not trying to tell everybody to just like throw out everything in their lives and eat a specific diet. However, if you notice that you're reaching for that little bit of a numbing agent, whether that be, you know, online shopping or a little glass of wine or eating an extra heavy meal, or even just, you know, calling up a whole bunch of people to just talk about nonsense, and you can feel yourself using it to numb, I would highly recommend just taking a moment and thinking about why you want to numb that out. And also just give yourself that chance to feel through this. And I will be honest, from here through until late January, we need to feel some things, and we need to be conscious of some things. And we need to be able to feel like we can give clear yeses or nos to things when we don't have our consciousness clouded by anything. And the thing is, this moon is an opportunity. This eclipse is an opportunity. The energies in these conversations going on don't happen very often at all. The way that they're happening with so much fire placement, which is all about action and creativity. It's the spiritual element. It takes from ether and creates warmth and heat. Warmth and heat. Warmth and light and what have you. It is an energy that is saying, hey, we want to give you a leg up. We want to take you to these new places. But if you're not willing to listen to what you know isn't serving you, to what you know you need to start championing for yourself, right? Then this moon's not going to do anything for you. I'll be honest. You'll feel a little heavy. You might feel a little bit emotions, and you'll walk away and you'll say, this moon didn't do anything. Sarah's full of crap. This moon didn't do anything. And so if you're numbing it out, you will miss this very clear, precise information that is coming in. The thing is, sitting here right now before this moon happens, before this eclipse happens, you already have this information. It's already in your bones. But this is an opportunity where it gets amplified, it gets put on center stage because we have two major square conversations going on. And I have to say, the energies that are involved here, which is, like Sagittarius, Aquarius, Leo, Aries, and a little bit of Pisces, the Neptune is that challenge. Like, are you going to take the dreamy escape? All those other signs, though, are very in your face. And once the energies there are very much about telling the truth, getting in there, and being brutally honest, So there is an honesty to this. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this as well, I want you to feel through what you're feeling. I want you to just be conscious with yourself during this moon. I highly recommend just taking quiet time for yourself. Absolutely. The other thing, though, is don't try and do this all on the night of the eclipse. Eclipses are traditionally seen as kind of malefic. Malefic being, it's a little bit of a harsher thing because there's a blotting out. There's a darkness, right? There's a moment of darkness, going to the shadow side, checking in with the shadow side, right? I don't expect you guys to sit there on the night of this moon and try and do all your manifestation rituals and all your vision boards. In fact, I would say throw that all away. Not throw it away. Just don't engage with it. Let it be during the few days around this moon. In fact, what I would say is open up your curiosity to what information could come in, because you might be very surprised to find that what you would have put on your vision board a few weeks ago, what you would have gotten down on your knees and asked for, what you would have done a few weeks ago, may not really apply anymore. And you may find that the new information coming in is very refreshing, very revitalizing, very crisp, very clear, and you will know what it is. Two cards already came out. I was starting to shuffle. 3 of Cups, 8 of Cups. Okay, here we go. Let me pull a couple more, you guys. Be gentle. Listen. Be soft with yourself. Chill out. You have a couple major squares going on. It's not going to be particularly comfortable, so the best thing you can do is get yourself comfortable. If you're going to be around people that you really trust. Be around those people that they're just with you. That would be great, actually, if you can spend some time with other people that you really trust and feel safe with. That would be great. Being alone is great. The world, that makes so much sense. We are closing out an 8-year cycle, and we are going into a new 8-year cycle with this eclipse. It's been kind of shifting that way over the last few months. This is just one of those moments where it's a little bit more obvious. King of Pentacles, very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. I personally like to spend my full moons a little bit more alone, because I find that I can listen very well, because everybody's feeling so much and I can feel everybody else's process. I can sometimes get other people's processes mixed with mine, and then I'm like, what's mine and what's theirs? So I like to spend, especially full moons, but both moon and full, normally very much in my own space, curating that space, relaxing as much as possible, chilling out, and that's really what I recommend here. The more relaxed you are, the easier these conversations will come through. Okay, so Three of Cups, Eight of Cups, World, King of Pentacles. Really pretty interesting combo, don't you think? And it makes a lot of sense. So here's the thing. Like, if you look at these two, this one is about the party you want to be at. This one is about the party you want to leave. The party that you know you need to leave. And that's where squares like this are really important. Now, what's interesting is with Cups energy, you know, these are often about toasts and inebriation, right? And in the Three of Cups, that is that jubilation, that fun party vibe of like, let's just go there, let's have fun. And the Eight of Cups is a little bit more of like, I'm leaving behind what doesn't serve me. So you have both levels here. Now, here's the thing. You have to be able to look at each of these landscapes. And the thing is, when you're really just being honest with yourself, you know exactly which is which. What in your life goes in the Eight of Cups category, where you walk away from it and you leave it behind, and what goes in the Three of Cups category, where you keep doing it and it's fun and it's rewarding and there's connection and it flows and it's easy and it feels good to your bones. In fact, you could take these cups out of the equation and still be dancing and having fun because it feels authentic to you, right? So this is a conversation that's going on. You'll be finding information for both sides of this conversation. The ones where it's like, go deeper into that and walk away from that. And not all of these have to be gigantic, oh, you're leaving your job, you're leaving your relationship. In fact, I find a lot of times the things that revolutionize our lives the most are these little things that we do. Whether that be, you know, upping how much fruit and vegetable we eat, or when we go to bed, or who we spend our time around just in our friendship circle, or how much time we take to just go for a long walk in nature. A lot of times it's as simple as that, but there's also bigger stuff going on here. That's where the world's coming in, because we're closing out. And this can be a little bittersweet, admittedly. Like the energy right now with the eclipses and with how things are moving, since the Venus retrograde. I just got shivers when I said that. The Venus retrograde wiped a lot away, left us all kind of thinking about what left and how it left and why it left and what that felt like. And that theme's continued for many of us all the way up to this eclipse. And it just takes some time to recalibrate once things have been stripped away like that. It takes a few months. So this moon is also a huge pressure relief, because you will notice that your frequency has changed so much so that what seemed really important in October, November, what seemed so crushing or crucial that was shifting or moving around for you suddenly doesn't hit you the same way, which is a great thing, right? That's freedom. But it can have that bittersweet knowledge of realizing it really has changed. It really isn't what it was. And that's another reason I'm saying you've got to feel this stuff. You have to feel. If you don't let yourself feel through this, and I always refer back to The Guest House by Rumi, truly such a great philosophical thing. I know a lot of you out there love it. Who doesn't? It's fantastic. You've got to let yourself feel through those guests, those visitors. Because if you don't, they just stay bottled up and they block you. Whoa. Hello. You guys, even with this moon, there's just this electricity that's been going on. I even actually got zapped by an appliance a few days ago. And I'm just like, okay, I'm trying to like just mellow and slow down. So there's a graduation from what was. And like I said, that theme started in the fall or in the spring, depending on where you are. It started in October, September, October. It's closing out here. It's really interesting that it leads into King of Pentacles. Now, this to me is partially an allusion to the 8-year transit that Uranus will be going through in Taurus, right? King of Pentacles is very Taurus energy. Also, it's a reference to fixed signs. All the fixed signs will be feeling this moon pretty deeply. So heads up to fixed signs out there, which is Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius. Yeah, this will feel a lot more personal to you. It will feel a lot more about your personal journey. If this moon is happening in your first house, you will also be feeling that very much as your personal journey. If it's happening in your 12th house, it's going to have a lot to do with your spiritual journey and how you're connecting to source and how healthfully you're doing that. So there's a lot of ways it can affect you, but King of Pentacles is about value and long-term growth. And it's also about a long-term cycle ahead, right? So this is an illusion. It's alluding to this next cycle and what that's going to look like. It is powerful. It's powerful. It looks different than what has been before. You are going to be experiencing different aspects of yourself, which is what it's all about being here in the world. We don't come here to grow up for 20 years or something and then know who we are and then just like hang out and be like, done, I'm just going to hang out for the next number of decades. You keep exploring new aspects of yourself. And these longer energetic arcs like this, like these 8-year arcs, are fantastic for getting to explore a different elements of that. So that's why there's so much going on with this eclipse and why it's pretty unrealistic to get everything happening the night of this moon. In fact, you may feel less aware in some ways. You may feel less able to intake the information as it's actually happening. You will be intaking the information, but how you make sense of that is going to take the next couple of weeks until we hit into the next new moon for you to completely take into your body, into your cells, into your thoughts. So that's the other side of this. Be easy. Be easy with this energy because it's going to be so tempting to be like, I want this ritualistic experience of the moon getting blotted out and everything starting new and I can just leave behind 2018 and all of that. Won't really happen that way. But you will feel the pinch. You will feel the collision. You will feel the graduation. You will feel the division between what was and what's going to be. And that will be pretty poignant. Okay. I think I covered it. I hope I covered it. Like I said, it's taken me a while to get prepared for this. I moved houses. I got sick. I had to lay low and remember how to roll with things as they come. So getting into this reading, I'm so glad it took me those extra few days because it really took me a while to get to the heart of what all those conversations were doing and saying to me. So that's what I got for you guys for Moon Magic. I'm really excited. I'm really intrigued by this full moon. It's going to be gorgeous for those of us who can see it. And oh, there was one other thing I wanted to mention. I was thinking about it because last year, January 2018, we had another Leo lunar eclipse, total lunar eclipse in North America, and it was January 31st. And I actually went back and looked at my discussion for that moon because it's really interesting. It has a completely different qualitative feel to this full moon lunar eclipse. The last year's was very playful and lighthearted and invitational. And this year is much more about departing for new shores, getting on that boat and heading to new shores, very 8 of Cups. So it has a really different feel. And I think what's interesting about is there's a mirror imaging going on there with what we were learning a year ago in January with that eclipse and what we're learning now. And how this last year was a huge culmination of so many lessons. So another fun thing you might want to do is just kind of think through where you were with that moon last year and see where you are now. Because a lot of the elements that seemed like they were going to be everything to you last January may not be here for this January. And it might even make you laugh a little bit to think how you thought that was really where the good stuff was. But with that, I'm going to close it out. The year aheads are on Vimeo. The Flow series, I have the link for that below. Like I said, that is going to be ongoing for as long as I have inspiration for it. I have a lot of ideas about how to connect with that energy and have fun with it. It's going to build. The Flow series is going to build and build and build and become kind of a little bit of a masterclass in technique for playing in it. Because I think it's not so much about I'm going to self-improve, I'm going to do this homework. I want this to be about the playfulness of it and the various ways you can connect to flow. So highly recommend you go check out the Flow series. Both links will be in the description box. My website and my email will be in the description box. I am doing private readings. You just want to plan ahead a little bit so that you can get that booked in. And I will see you guys for the next Moon Magic for February readings. There's so much good stuff coming up in the path ahead. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you very soon.